different ways, but with the same goal, which is to use that formational flexibility to confuse defenses. Runs look like passes. Passes look like runs. You never know who's blocking. And for a back like Gibbs, who you can flex out wide, you can have him out running out routes out of the backfield, it creates a lot of matchup nightmares, because if he's in space against a linebacker, you won. His greatest asset at Alabama was his explosiveness with the ball in his hands. And the way that they're talking, and offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, I have to imagine, is just over the moon thinking of ways to use him, makes me excited to see how he's deployed in this offense.
All right, I can't wait to see Jahmyr Gibbs. But before we move on with the Lions, we got to go back to this. Did I see Dan Campbell wearing a shirt of GM Brad Holmes?
Did.
Wearing a shirt of Dan Campbell? Can we get an ISO? Okay, look at this. Okay, so take a look back at this press conference on April 29th. This was Brad Holmes, their GM. And check out the shirt that he is wearing as a pro. But it is close, as all four teams have at least a 12% chance at the division title. The aforementioned, and the man you just heard from, Dan Campbell, talked about the versatility of his new look roster.
Shoot, man, offensively, you got different packages. You add a tight end, now we can live in 13 personnel more. You got Gibbs, he comes along. Montgomery, you can run some more two-back with two H's in the game, The receiver thing, you get J-Mo back. We got Marvin. Now maybe we go some 10 personnel. And so you just maximize your personnel, your roster. I mean, defensively, having Sutton, we get Mosley healthy, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We got a lot more versatility, and that does come with the depth.
All right, so Mina, many were surprised when the Lions took a running back, 12th overall, specifically Jahmyr Gibbs, 199 pounds out of Alabama. But how does he potentially change this offense?
Well, based on what Dan Campbell's saying, which I loved, by the way.
We're not going to see the Russell Wilson from 3 years ago. We're going to see the Russell Wilson early in his career, where they ran the football, he managed the game, and they played defense.
Well, it got overshadowed last year because of how bad the offense was, but that defense was nasty last season. Some changes this offseason to that defense, but for the most part, intact. Can't wait to see them ball out. I'm not so sure on the offense as of yet. Coming up, Patrick Mahomes has the MVPs, Super Bowls, and the money. So what else could he need?
We got everything we need here. If you think we're in a rebuilding, you got the wrong team, the wrong place. So we're here to play ball. We got everything we need. Like I said, our defense is going to be ready to ball. We're going to be ready to ball. Special teams is going to be ready to ball. So we know it's going to take all 11. We're going to have to depend on each other in all phases. But we're hungry. We're ready to prove a lot of people wrong. We know what people are saying. So, but everybody has an opinion, and most of them stink. So.
Aaron Jones, ESPN Analytics, collision course, because ESPN Analytics projects Green Bay for just 7.4 wins, which will place them last in the division. Not common expectations that we are used to for the Packers after 30 years of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers as their starting quarterback. So, Key, do you think the Packers can surprise some people and potentially win more than 7 winning going? Make this happen in perpetuity. I love it. All right. Lions, plenty of talk. Can't wait to see them this upcoming season. Sean Payton over in Denver is in his first season with the Broncos. Of course, his first OTAs. He's a lot of ground to make up after Denver went 5-12 in their first season with Russell Wilson at the helm. The head coach Russell Wilson spoke just a little while ago at OTAs.
First of all, I think Sean's one of the best coaches to ever coach this game. He's intense, he's focused. He's such a great teacher of the game. And so all of us are learning every day, more information, learning how to play the game the right way, how to practice at the highest level. And that's what we're focused on right now. And, it's an honor to obviously, put on the pads and put on the jersey and just get to do what I love to do.
All right, Key, one of the big stories this season is whether Russell Wilson can get back on track. Is Sean Payton the man that can get him back on track?
Well, I think he is. And if Russell Wilson doesn't take Deshaun's teaching, then he'll be on the track somewhere, going somewhere. That's where that's going to go. But I think when you look at Russell Wilson and you look at his success that he had early on in Seattle, it wasn't about letting Russ cook. It wasn't him throwing the ball 40 times a game. Sean is a guy who's methodically looking to move the football down the field. They still got pieces that are in place that played last year. They still got a defense that turned it up a little bit last year, late in the season. So I understand that the top quarterback that was there that took over for Brett Favre, who's walking into the Hall of Fame, is no longer there, and there's a young man named Jordan Love. And when you look at Jordan Love, you look at him and go, well, he's never played, he's never done that. But could it be such a thing as addition by subtraction? Yes, it can be, because you don't need to do all the things you did with Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes you overthink when you have powerful players like Aaron Rodgers. You get out of starting to do things. You're starting to be too fancy. Maybe simple is the better way to go. And maybe that helps them move into the next direction and get past those 7 wins that people think they're only going to get. That's just me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Jeff thinks something different.
I think you're being really nice here, Newton, but eventually Mac Jones and
season, it's a possibility, but the priority is the development of the young quarterback. A very realistic possibility.
Now, back to you, Jeff. So
I knew this was going to happen. See, this is ridiculous.
Here's what I would say.
This is a
I
setup.
understand the fascination with Aaron Rodgers being a great Hall of Famer, and they're not going to be better. Of course they would be better with Aaron Rodgers. And, of course, you trust Aaron Rodgers' judgment of the talent. This team didn't go to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. My whole point is when coaches coach, sometimes they do more. Sometimes they do a little bit more because they think they have something in a certain player. When they realize that they don't need to do that, things change for the better. This defense is still intact. They still got Aaron Jones. They got 2 young receivers that are studs that are going into their second year.
Not the same, expecting the winning to stay the same. I don't look at this roster and think that they are better without Aaron Rodgers. And I also trust Aaron Rodgers' evaluation of the roster, because if he believed that this was a Super Bowl caliber roster, or, to be fair, even just a playoff caliber roster, I think he'd still be in Green Bay.
I suspect the truth kind of lies somewhere between playoff team and rebuild with the Packers. Most people, when they think of a rebuild, they think of a team that has very little chance of being competitive. And I don't think that's true of the Green Bay Packers. There's just too much talent on this roster. It's a defense that hasn't played up to that talent level, but I thought played better at the end of last year with tons of first-round draft picks. It's dominant offensive line, very good run game led by Aaron Jones, underrated skill group, and I think one of the better play callers in the NFL in Matt LaFleur. If Jordan Love, of the offensive